Our Story Productions presents On the Road to Our Story, featuring a variety of programs that take a closer look at the organizations, businesses, and people located in the small communities of the Midwest. So get ready, for you're about to travel on the road to our story.
Hi, Cassidy Davis here, and although you might know me from the Cocklebur Morning Show, I'm not here to talk about me today. My fellow celebrities and I are doing something pretty exciting. We've discovered some incredible counties and towns and neighboring communities. Here, check them out.
Located in New Ulm, Minnesota in Brown County, you will find the Splendid Nest. Almost 5 years ago, Kathleen and Jeff Connell opened a retail boutique offering unique gifts, gourmet foods, home furnishings, interior design, women's fashion, clothing, and jewelry in the historic Grand Hotel in downtown New Ulm. The shop was designed to complement the historic character of the building that added to a distinctive shopping experience. What was intended to be a venture that would give them something to do in their retirement has turned into a full-time business that has expanded beyond anything they imagined. It was a lot of work and a real step of faith in pretty uncertain economic times, but it's been worth it, Jeff said. Kathleen and Jeff have found that people support local small businesses that offer a distinctive environment where there is a wide selection of quality products at reasonable prices. They now feature the men's collection, as well as offering 2 unique shops in 1 convenient location. They stress the importance of listening to their customers, citing that many of the lines they carry now are there because of suggestions from customers. The Splendid Nest's visitors come from all over the country, as well as New Ulm and surrounding areas. Kathleen and Jeff share, "We have found a great response to offering something different and focusing our marketing on shopping locally by being responsive to potential customers' needs and style. In a small market, it's important to be sensitive to uniqueness and individuality, while still offering traditional selections. For example, when ordering women's clothing, they select variety in a line, and once that item is sold out, they will not reorder the same thing. This ensures that a person can go out to an event and will feel confident that their look will not be duplicated. The Splendid Nest truly sets itself apart from larger chain stores. Customers can find a unique shopping experience that includes a pleasant environment, friendly staff to answer questions, and quality selections that are fairly priced. The Splendid Nest's original and timeless stylings make for the perfect gift for anyone on your gift-giving list, and even better, for you. Open Monday through Saturday from 10 to 5. The Splendid Nest, 20 North Minnesota Street, New Ulm, Minnesota.
Hello, I'm Jason Howland. Welcome to Speaking of Health, a place to help you learn how to live a longer and healthier life. Medicine. The word symbolizes healing, but the wrong medicine or medicine taken incorrectly can cause more harm than good. The good news is medication problems are preventable with the proper help. Our guest today is Dr. Audrey Umbright. She is a clinical pharmacist who practices medication therapy management at Mayo Clinic Health System. Dr. Umbright, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
Well, let's begin by talking about how prevalent medications are used, especially in our senior population.
Sure. Well, medication use is actually very, very common. One study showed that about 80% of our Minnesota seniors take at least 1 prescription medication on a regular basis. If we look at the cost of those medications, 1 out of 4 Minnesota seniors spends about $100 or more out of pocket on their prescription medications every month, and that's even after insurance. And if we look at the problems that these medications cause, medication adverse events is one of the leading causes of preventable hospitalizations and emergency room visits. And for every decade that you are over the age of 40, your risk of having one of those adverse drug events increases by 30%.
All right, so what is an adverse drug event?
Sure. An adverse drug event is simply something that is going wrong with your medication. It could be as simple as getting constipation caused from a side effect of your medication, or it could be an accidental overdose that causes your heart to beat irregularly or causes you to lose consciousness.
So it covers the gamut. Could be something extremely serious. It might be something very minor.
Right.
So what can cause those problems with medications, those adverse drug events?
Well, there's many different factors. Of course, there's factors within our own health system and errors that are made by healthcare professionals and prescribers. And we are always trying to help reduce those problems through using technology like electronic prescribing, using computer-assisted decision-making tools to help flag for potential adverse drug events or drug interactions. But surprisingly, one of the biggest contributors is patient misuse of the medications. And in fact, one statistic showed that over 50% of prescriptions are used incorrectly. Some of the more common types of those medication misuses includes taking the incorrect dose of the medication, taking the medication at the wrong time, and then stopping the medication too soon, which can be a particular problem if you're talking about antibiotics and antibiotic resistance when stopping the medication too soon.
50% of prescription medications are used incorrectly. That seems like a really alarming number to me.
It is, and I was startled when I looked at these statistics as well.
So, and you wouldn't think that it would be that high. You know, medications are supposed to help us, but basically 50% of the folks, they're not either getting the right use out of that medication, or it's just, it's interacting with something when it shouldn't be, right?
Sure, yep.
So for people taking medications to get better, how can they reduce their risk of having those types of problems?
Well, I think there are 4 very simple, very easy things that everybody can do to help reduce their risk of getting an adverse drug event. The first thing is simply keep an updated medication list. I can't tell you how many times I've met with people and they say, well, don't you know what I'm taking? It's in the computer. Well, I'll let you in on a little secret. That computer is not always up to date. It's really important for you, the patient, to know what you're taking and to keep that record. Review that with your doctor at every clinic visit. The second thing that people can do is simply ask questions. Be informed. If something doesn't seem right, ask about it. The third, and this should be pretty self-evident, but take your medications as directed. Don't try to change the directions without talking with your doctor first. And don't take anything such as an over-the-counter medication or an herbal supplement without talking with your doctor or with your pharmacist first to make sure that it doesn't interact with your other prescription medications. The fourth thing that people can do for people who are taking multiple chronic medications is I recommend getting a medication therapy management visit with a pharmacist at least once a year to review those medications and make sure there's no problems.
So medication therapy management. I have never heard of that before. Is that a newer concept, and what exactly does it do?
Sure, medication therapy management has been around for a while, but it's still relatively new in healthcare. What it is it's a visit where a patient and a pharmacist sit down together and we go through everything that a person is taking, all the prescription medications, any herbal supplements, any non-prescription medications that a person might be taking. And we evaluate each of those medications in 4 key domains. First, we ask the question, what is the reason that this person is taking this medication? Is it actually treating a medical condition? A lot of times we can find medications and supplements that are not actually really needed. Secondly, we ask the question, is it effective? So is the patient meeting their healthcare goals? Is the drug working like it should be? Third, we ask the question, is this drug safe? So of course we look for things like side effects, drug interactions, and also we look at lab values. You know, are we checking the labs that we should be checking to make sure that this drug is staying safe over the long term? And then finally, we ask the question, is this patient able to take the medication the way that their doctor has prescribed? And if not, you know, what are those barriers? Maybe it's just a matter of forgetting the dose. Maybe it's not understanding how to use the inhaler device properly. Or maybe there's cost issues that get in the way.
So what's the benefit for the patient to have a medication therapy management visit?
Well, there are many benefits. Time and time again, studies have shown that folks who do these types of visits have a less risk of having an adverse drug event. They're less likely to be admitted to the hospital because of medication problems, less likely to go to the emergency room because of medication problems. Secondly, we're able to help patients save money, not just on their medications, but on their overall healthcare expense as well. And then finally, we can help people meet their healthcare goals, whether that goal is to achieve a certain blood pressure Or maybe that goal is to manage your conditions without medications or with less medications. And I have to tell you, my favorite thing is to help people get off their meds if we can.
Great. So how does somebody go about getting a medication therapy management visit? Do they go see their primary care provider first?
Well, yes, we do provide medication therapy management within the healthcare system. You could also ask your local pharmacist at your pharmacy if they provide the service as well. But interestingly, though, you don't need a referral for the service.
Okay.
You could just call up and say, hey, I want to talk with the pharmacist about my medications.
Fantastic. Well, you talked about keeping an updated medication list, and it's not just a list of the drugs that someone's taking, but much more, right?
You're exactly right. So a complete medication list should include not only the name of the drug or supplement that you're taking, but also how much you take at a time, or the dose, how many times a day you take that dose, and write down what it's for. And then finally, a complete medication list should also include, what allergies you have to medications, as well as any bad reactions you've had to medications in the past.
So can you give me an example of a negative drug interaction that could have been avoided by seeing a pharmacist?
Sure. Well, a very common medication that a lot of people are prescribed, especially after being out of the hospital for, say, like a knee surgery or a hip surgery, is Coumadin. Coumadin is a blood thinner. And I had a patient just last month who was discharged from the hospital after having a knee surgery, and they were started on Coumadin to prevent blood clots. But when I met with them, it turned out that he was also taking Advil to treat pain. He hadn't shared that with his doctor. Unbeknownst to the patient, Advil and Coumadin interact and can increase the risk of causing a bleed. So when I met with that patient, I told the patient to stop the Advil and to use Tylenol instead, which is a safer medication with the Coumadin.
And that goes back to your point about the medication list, that it's not just about the prescription drugs that you're taking, but those over-the-counter drugs, supplements, herbal supplements, those kind of things, all can possibly interact with the prescription meds.
Yeah, a lot of people don't realize that a lot of times those over-the-counter and herbal supplements can interact with your prescription medications.
So, Dr. Umbright, what are some maybe common symptoms of adverse drug effects?
Well, some of the common symptoms if you're having an allergic reaction would include a rash or difficulty breathing. If you're experiencing any of those when you start a new medication, make sure you stop and talk with your doctor or call your pharmacist right away, because that could be signs of a serious allergic reaction. Although allergic reactions to medications really aren't all that common. Some of the more common side effects that people probably don't even realize could be caused by their medications are things like constipation, stomach upset, headache, some dizziness, fatigue. A lot of people write those things off as being normal signs of aging, but sometimes it could actually be a side effect of a medication.
And is that something that you should let your doctor or pharmacist know if you're experiencing those types of side effects?
Definitely, you should talk about it. And even if you've been on a medication for a long time and never have experienced any bad effects to it, what a lot of people don't realize is that even though the medication might be staying the same throughout time, your body is continually changing. And as we age, the way that we react to medications changes.
So a number of medications, they can be really expensive for patients. So how about an example of how medication therapy management helped a patient with the cost of their meds?
Sure. Well, one thing that we can do for patients is to help find less expensive alternatives to expensive brand name medications. For example, I had a patient not too long ago who was taking Vytorin for cholesterol, which is an expensive brand name medication. And when I talked with her and her doctor, we were able to switch her to a less expensive generic cholesterol medication that turned out to work just as well as the Vytorin did. So it saved her a lot of money.
So is that the case for the most part when it comes to medications, brand name versus generic? Do they work the same, or is generic not as good? Or?
Yep, if there is a generic medication available for a brand name drug, it is exactly the same. So, for example, if you're picking up a box of Claritin over the counter and right next to it is Loratadine, those two are exactly the same. The way to tell is to look for the active ingredients on the box of the Claritin. So if you look at the active ingredient on the Claritin box, it'll say Loratadine.
Another question for you. Expired medication. All medications have an expiration date on them. If you go into your medicine cabinet, you see a medication there that you're having symptoms again. I don't know what it is, back pain or something.
Sure.
And you see that, but it's past the expiration date. Do not take that.
I would recommend not taking that. I know we don't want to waste medications,
Right.
but the expiration dates are on there not just to protect the drug company, but actually to protect you. In some cases, medications, when they're past their expiration date, they might have decomposed into other ingredients. The medication might not work as well for you, but it could also cause additional harm or cause side effects that you wouldn't otherwise expect.
So it might not be effective or it might not be safe.
Right.
So what do we do with expired medications? You shouldn't take them because they might not be effective, they might not be safe. So what should you do with your expired medications? Flushing down the toilet is a no-no,
It's a
right?
no-no. We used to flush things down the toilet, but that actually gets the drugs into the water stream and can harm the environment. And so what you should do is actually hold on to those old expired medications and look for what they call a drug take-back event. A lot of different communities are hosting these now. They're oftentimes at the police station or at the courthouse. If you have questions about what to do with your medications, you can also search online to find some of those take-back sites.
Because, like you said, flushing down the toilet gets potentially into the water stream. You do not throw them away.
Do not throw
They
them
do
away.
not go to the landfill. You get them to a proper receptacle that can hold these type of things, and
Yeah.
and then they can be handled that way.
Yeah, at those take-back events, I believe a lot of times those medications are incinerated.
So, any other words of advice for folks that are currently taking medications?
Well, I think it's always very important for people to be empowered to ask questions. I always tell people, you are the expert on you. So you know if something is going wrong before we're going to know. So make sure you ask, what is this medication that I'm taking? Why am I taking it? How should I take it? Does it interact with my other medications? How will I know if this medication is working? And what should I do if I think something isn't right?
Well, unfortunately, we're all out of time, but I would like to thank our guest today, Dr. Audrey Umbright, Mayo Clinic Health System Pharmacist, for joining us today on Speaking of Health. A great topic. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Have a great day, everyone, and be healthy.
There you have it, folks. One of our favorite stories. Now, let's take a look at another.
Hi, Prairie Ann here. You probably know me from that hit talk show, The Women of Sweet Spine County, but I'm not here to talk about me today. My fellow celebrities and I have discovered some incredible counties and towns in our neighboring communities that you're sure to want to learn about. Let's take a look. Located in Buffalo Center, Iowa, in Winnebago County, you will find Johnson's Food Center. Johnson's Food Center proprietor, Jeff Johnson, says he has been involved in the grocery business since high school over 30 years ago. After working his way up in the grocery business over the years, he found himself moving to Bancroft, Iowa in 1999 to manage a store there. He ended up purchasing that store on October 1st, 2004. Seeing great potential in an additional location, Jeff also purchased the store in Buffalo Center just 10 days later. He ran both stores for 8 years before selling the Bancroft location to focus solely on the store in Buffalo Center. Johnson's Food Center offers a wide variety of excellent health and beauty products and general merchandise as well as grocery items. The store boasts bountiful produce, fresh bakery items, a delicious dairy section, top-notch organic items, frozen favorites, choice meats, a delectable deli, and terrific seafood selection. The store features both trusted national brands and great private labels as well. To best serve their patrons, they also offer the conveniences of carry to your car and home delivery services. Johnson Food Center currently employs a dozen hardworking full and part-time team members. Johnson says, "We have a very good crew of employees at the store and are looking forward to many more years in the community." Buffalo Center is a very nice small Midwestern town with many thriving businesses. Johnson's Food Center is located at 209 North Main Street in Buffalo Center, Iowa, and is open Monday through Saturday from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. and Sunday from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. Come and experience what they have to offer. Johnson's Food Center, Buffalo Center, Iowa.
Ready, America, because you're about to see the best of the Cocklebur Morning Show, Sweet Swine County's #1 morning talk show. Our Story Productions presents the Cocklebur Morning Show, where we weed out the big stories from throughout Sweet Swine County with Bobby Ray and Sally Sue.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. We're really, really glad to be with you today. Sally Sue, we have an exciting show today, don't we?
Oh, we do. It's a great show that with all the news reports from outside of Sweet Swine County, and a guest that everyone is sure to love.
Really?
It's awesome.
I can't wait to
awesome.
be introduced. That's great.
Yes. So, Bobby Ray, did you have an exciting weekend?
I have to tell you, Sally Sue, I make it my mission to be the most informed person from Sweet Swine County as far as history is concerned. And yes, I had a great weekend.
Why just outside Sweet Swine County?
Well, you know, our fan base is expanding for the Cocklebur Morning Show. So I think it's important that people understand that one of my duties is to represent this show in southern Minnesota.
Definitely.
Okay?
Definitely.
And besides, the executive producer gave me an expense account, so I use it.
Excuse me?
Yeah. Well,
an expense account?
Don't get all excited. It's only $2.55, but it's moving up. I spend every penny.
Okay, well, why don't you tell us how you spent your expense account this
Sally Sue,
weekend?
I went over to the town of Tracy in Lyon County.
Oh, yes.
Okay, have you ever been?
yes.
It's a pretty cool town.
No, I haven't, but
it is I love that town. It's a cool town. You know, we have a lot of fans in Tracy. I have a lot of fans in Tracy, which I didn't realize, yes.
Really?
I went into the Tracy Bakery, which is on Main Street.
Oh, nice.
And immediately they recognized me, which was very impressive.
Okay.
And I know that because she stood behind the counter and said, "How are you?"
Really?
Not everybody does that with me.
So, Bobby Ray, you went over to Tracy just to visit the bakery?
No, Sally Sue, although believe me, that would have been enough of a reason to go.
Really?
Oh, I'm telling you what, their baked goods are made from scratch.
Ooh.
They've been in business for 50 years. They are just outstanding, okay?
yummy.
Oh my
Yummy.
gosh, I'm telling you, can't you tell? I had a few over the weekend.
I see.
But I'm here to tell you, I got some for our owner, J.R. Olson. He thinks
honey.
we're the greatest, let me tell you.
That's such a good idea.
I thought it was a good idea.
Boy,
Yep,
that's
absolutely.
how you spent your money. huh?
Absolutely.
Cool.
Anyway, the real reason that I went to Tracy, on top of that,
Yes.
was to go and visit the Wheels Across the Prairie Museum.
Oh, really?
And I brought back a brochure, so I'd kind of like to read this to you.
share it with us, please.
In 1977, a small group of citizens embarked on the long and often frustrating task of erecting a memorial to those hardy pioneers who stayed with this often wild land. The purpose was to collect wheels from all facets of their lives, agricultural, railroad, and automotive, plus all the little wheels, which helped this county grow and prosper. The Wheels Across the Prairie Museum opened its doors on June 1, 1985 to share the story with visitors. You can visit the Amoret Post Office, check out our car barn with antique tractors and vintage automobiles, view the power of nature and the horror of the 1968 tornado in pictures, which was unbelievable. Stop and examine the machinery used by farmers in the early 1900s. As the village continues to grow, they've added the Murray County Schoolhouse, District 91, an 1897 train depot from Volga, South Dakota, the Sunquist Summer Kitchen, the Heartland Chapel, the Springdale Imaker Blacksmith Shop, and St. Mark's Church. I'm telling you, there's a lot over there in Tracy.
That
I was
sounds Bobby
really,
Ray.
really impressed.
You're right, Bobby Ray. That was incredible.
I know, it's
town.
unbelievable.
Oh, so what do you say that we bring out our guest for today?
I think it's a great idea.
Wonderful. Today's guest is from the town of Worthington in Nobles County. Ladies and gentlemen, join me in welcoming Marv Spomer from Spomer Classics and Museum.
Welcome, Mr. Spomer, welcome.
Thank you, but you can call me Marv.
Oh, okay.
Nice. Okay, Marv, can you tell us a little bit about your museum in the town of Worthington?
Yes, be happy to. The museum was started the collection was started about 25 years ago. And about 5 years ago, we decided that we would share the collection with the public. There's a lot of private collections like this, but nothing open to the public every day like we've done with this. And what you will see there is not only a collection of cars, there's some very unusual cars and there's some low number built cars, but our main emphasis is on signs.
Really?
Porcelain neon signs. And porcelain signs and neon signs is art that's not used anymore. It's a thing of the past. And we have decided to share this with people. So what you will be looking at would be all vintage signs, starting some of them back as early as the early 1900s.
I'll be darned.
And the majority of them come out of auto dealerships, but we have expanded our collection to include farm implement signs, lots of automobile memorabilia, farm memorabilia, pedal cars, various items that are interest to a lot of different people.
Now
We kind of renew the old days.
Sure. Now, you mentioned neon signs. I didn't realize they weren't making those anymore.
There are very few neon signs built
Really?
anymore. Right.
Now, are these signs donated or did you purchase
Very good
them?
question.
They have been purchased.
Really?
And they are from all over the country.
Really?
In fact, some signs were used in movie props in Hollywood.
Oh,
I have 3 signs that came out of Hollywood. There are some signs that are still in the original shipping crates.
Oh, really? That's interesting.
Yep. So it's a variety that interests a lot of different people. In fact, we've had, not only do we have bus tours, but we've had high school history classes. We take them back in history. And one of our first groups was actually a ladies group. In fact, we've had the Red Hat ladies come through,
Oh,
car
sure. Okay.
clubs, and various other groups. In fact, even church groups and different organizations come through, and we do a walkthrough tour. So we explain there's history on just about all these signs.
Oh, I'm sure. And now, when it comes to the cars that you have there,
Yes.
What years, what types, what do you have in that regard?
Well, we've got some muscle cars. That's the hot thing these days. But we have some other older cars. We have a good selection of convertibles. We'd have some Corvettes. We have, in fact, we usually show some cars that we're in process of restoring at this particular time. So you can come in and you might see a variety of anything. And things change. We keep adding every day. Every day is working on either signs or cars.
So you do your own restoration of vehicles as well,
Yes.
is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Right.
My.
Right. Yep.
Well, what hours are your museum open?
We are basically open from 9 to 5
Oh, nice. Every day of the week?
every day of the week except weekends.
Okay.
And most of our tours are basically set up by appointment. And
Okay.
we appreciate that because when you're working all the time, you might not be dressed properly to be giving a tour
Oh,
group
sure.
through.
I understand, sure.
But we have people stopping in all the time. They come off the interstate. I mean, our guest book is pretty full from this summer. It really
yeah,
is.
they are, yeah.
And they're from all over the country.
Amazing. Now, what is the address of the museum so people can locate you in Worthington?
We're 322 Oxford Street.
Okay.
And it's very easy to find. If anybody coming into town, they take the business loop right off the interstate, they can't miss it.
Wonderful.
Do you have a website by any chance?
We do.
Okay.
Our website is www.spomerclassics.com, and you can pull that up, and we've got a toll-free number as well as all our cell phone number and everything's there.
Wonderful.
That's great.
Wonderful.
And
We need to get over there.
I think
we
so.
invite you to
Road
come
trip.
over. Really do.
That would be great.
Yep.
Yes, that would be wonderful to see.
Is there anything else you'd like to share with us today?
Well, I'd like to thank you for this, and I'd
Oh,
like
absolutely.
to invite the people to come and view this, but I have one other thing.
Okay.
The person responsible for this is sitting in the audience.
Oh, really?
Really?
That's my wife. And
I see her.
Oh, I do.
Yes,
Outstanding.
yes. And I'll tell you how this took place. She was an antiquer. And I used to go with her, and we always got along real good to antiquing, but she said one day about 26 years ago, she said, why don't you look for automotive stuff since I was in the automobile business?
Oh, okay.
Guess what? That's, as
That's
you
how
can
it
see,
started.
that's how it all started. And here we are today.
Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in thanking our very special guest today, Marv Spomer from Spomer Classics and Museum. And we'd also like to thank all of you for watching the Cocklebur Morning Show. Thank you so much. Until next time, bye-bye. Get ready, because now you can see a late-night talk show filmed in front of a discerning yet agreeable studio audience. Split Hoof
Tonight, Cousin John and his incomparable sidekick, Earl Silo, interview a roster of guests who make appearances that you won't want to miss. Now on this station and the web.